and a warm welcome to this edition of Business Africa with me, Ndayoka. The top stories this week. The economic community of West African states is at a crossroads as it witnesses the strengthening of the alliance of Sahel states. The economic stability of the region is at stake. Can the bloc survive? We stay in Western Africa to take a closer look at the oil export dispute between Benin and Niger. The crisis is notably caused by Niamey's closure of its side of the border. Later on the program, we'll head to Cameroon, where the inauguration of a massive hydroelectric dam marks a turning point for the sub-region's energy landscape. ECOWAS is living a watershed moment as it navigates an epidemic of coups and witnesses the forging of new alliances. This has raised key questions on the region's economic stability and cooperation.
In a rapidly changing region, the economic community of West African state ECOWAS faces a series of challenges, raising questions about the bloc's ability to stay the course. Since its creation in 1975, ECOWAS has played a central role in promoting economic and political cooperation in West Africa. However, the latest military coups in Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger have exposed the flaws within the organization. In addition, the economic sanctions imposed by ECOWAS on the states concerned have had a negative impact on trade and investment in the region. The reasons for the crisis are even further complex. The military leaders of the Sahelian states have criticized the ECOWAS economic sanctions, calling them unjust measures that are damaging their already fragile economies. These tensions have exacerbated divisions within the organization, threatening its integrity and effectiveness. Yet, despite these challenges, the election of a new president in Senegal is paving the way for regional renewal. Moreover, during his recent visits to Ghana and Nigeria, Bassirou Diomaye Faye reaffirmed his commitment to dialogue and economic cooperation. While ECOWAS remains a pillar of economic progress in the region, the current turmoil poses a crucial question. Will it stay the course despite the challenges, or succumb to growing pressure within the region?
Our guest this week is Magai Guy, an international economist. Welcome to Business Africa, sir. As you know, ECOWAS has experienced a period of turbulence lately. Tell us, what challenges does the bloc face today?
You know that in economics, what is crucial and important is peace and security. It is the primary input in any development process. Then there is an economic challenge. ECOWAS had established the free movement of goods and services. However, it must be noted that since then, ECOWAS member countries only trade among themselves to the extent of 10%, which is very small. This is linked to a lack of industrialization. There's also the geopolitical challenge as 3 states are considering leaving this organization, which will impact 54% of the land area, 16% of the population, and also eliminate about 10% of the GDP. So there will be a significant economic impact. And the last one, as you know, is related to the monetary issue. ECOWAS had set a goal of having its own currency, the ECO, by 2020. But that hasn't yet succeeded. Therefore, there are indeed many challenges to address to answer your question.
Taking into account the new regional dynamics, how can ECOWAS strengthen its position as a major economic player?
We need to develop policies for industrial complementarity and focus on energy, industry, integration complementarities, and intra-regional trade. Unfortunately, the resurgence of coups risks impacting country risk as well. Finally, the attempt to create a Sahel alliance can embolden other countries seeking to leave ECOWAS.
The alliance of Sahel states is on the verge of becoming a confederation. Can it transform the regional economic landscape?
These three countries are aware that they are rich in natural resources such as manganese and the newly discovered oil in Niger. They trade very little among themselves and know that by pooling their economic potential together, they can succeed. And if these countries leave the CFA franc, we might witness a devaluation of the currency.
Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye is considered the hope of ECOWAS. What challenges must he overcome to restore unity and cooperation?
I am among those who believe that it is not certain that the Alliance of Sahel countries will return to the organization. But to answer your question, the Senegalese president needs to consider two constraints. There are legendary rivalries between Mali and Senegal. Moreover, the Sahel countries are strongly determined to move towards forming a confederation. I think President Bassirou Diomaye Faye's role should be more of a mediator than an arbitrator. Why? Because these countries in the Alliance of Sahel states are aware that they are rewriting a new chapter in the relations between Europe and Africa. On the other hand, ECOWAS also wants to once again rise to the challenge of preventing other countries from joining the Sahel Alliance. There could be healthy emulation. Today, Senegal must play the wisdom card by remaining in ECOWAS while also maintaining excellent cooperative relations with the Sahel countries to grant them access to the sea and assist them diplomatically.
Magai Guy, thank you for your insight.
Thank you.
Closed borders and an oil exports crisis. The dispute between Benin and Niger is complex, requiring Chinese mediation for crucial negotiations. More details from Cotonou.
Since the beginning of May, West African neighbors Benin and Niger have been plunged into an economic and diplomatic impasse, with President Patrice Talon blocking the export of landlocked Niger's crude oil from Benin's port of Seme.
It would seem that the Nigerian authorities preferred Nigerian oil to pass through Benin informally, to be loaded in our waters informally.
Benin is aggrieved that its northern neighbor has kept its border closed to trade since a coup d'etat there last July. Cotonou is demanding the full restoration of bilateral and economic ties before letting Niger's crude oil out for export.
Look at the form of the president's intervention. I don't think the president should intervene in this matter.
Niger's Prime Minister Ali Mahamane Lamine Zein believes that the crisis should be settled between Benin and China. Beijing built the 1,950-kilometer pipeline which transports crude from Niger to Benin's Atlantic coast. China has also signed a $400 million agreement with Niger to export 90,000 barrels of oil per day, with Benin charging port and pipeline fees.
You've mentioned the amounts that we earn in taxes per day, but do not forget the jobs that are created. We're talking about nearly 3,000 jobs for Benin over time.
Since May 15th, Benin announced the lifting of the embargo on Niger's oil exports following a meeting with a Chinese delegation.
The lack of electricity affects many sectors of society. To address this issue, Cameroon has commissioned the first turbine of the Nachtigal hydroelectric dam.
The city of Douala, Cameroon, experiences frequent power cuts, some lasting more than 24 hours. A journalist based in this economic capital expressed her difficulties in meeting her deadlines due to these frequent power cuts.
It's very complicated. For example, there are projects currently being rendered, and when the power goes out, it becomes difficult to deliver the work to some clients.
First, with this crisis, the government launched the Nachtigal Dam. It's a matter of urgency, built in 2019 thanks to a public-private partnership with the French firm EDF. A public finance expert explained the benefits of this partnership.
In the case of Nachtigal, the advantage of going for public-private partnerships generally lies in the fact that sometimes the state itself does not have a company specializing in the construction of hydroelectric schemes, and the state may also be short of cash at the time.
60 megawatts have already been commissioned out of the 420 megawatts planned by December. This represents almost 30% of the southern Cameroon's energy needs from green energy.
We are going to see a technical increase in workloads. The 420 megawatts will not be produced on the same day. The first penstock will be brought online, delivering 60 megawatts at first, then increasing from 60 to 120, 120 to 180, gradually until maximum capacity is reached.
The country's energy needs are 2,000 megawatts, but the current dams produce only 1,600 megawatts due to a lack of maintenance, according to these experts. The injection of 60 megawatts will bridge part of this gap until the government reaches 5,000 megawatts by 2030.
That wraps this episode of Business Africa. You can watch it again on Africanews.com and on all our platforms. Bye for now.